him up.
Which is what Corbin does.
Brewers trading Burnes.
And a swing out of mid.
2021 National League Cy Young Award winner is Corbin Burnes from the Milwaukee Brewers.
235 Ks now for Burnes, his career best.
You want to move him because you don't think he's worth 30, 40 million a year? Fine. But don't move him because you're going to cry, I can't sign.
He was so sharp today. It was fun to watch. Not only was it a great performance, but it was the performance that we had to have.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brewers fans. If there's a Brewer fan watching, I'm sorry. And I'm not making fun of you, just the way your team runs things. I don't know what the Brewers are doing. They're pushing Corbin Burnes away over $700,000. Look, to me and you, that's life-changing money. But to Corbin Burnes, like, he deserves that money. He deserves that respect, and the Brewers owe it to him. And so pretty much what this video is about is how yet another small market team is using their small market money as an excuse to not pay their players what they're worth. And so now they flip it around on, like, my team, the Dodgers, or if you're a Mets fan, you're going to hear backlash when Corbin Burnes eventually goes and either signs with them or is traded to them, because the Brewers are going to play this poor me game. We couldn't keep him because of money reasons. But when you see this clip right here, even if you're a Brewers fan, you're probably going to want to jump ship. Look.
You know, the Brewers never really made a real attempt to try to come to a deal to avoid a hearing, at least from our perspective. You know, I heard the comments yesterday, but you know, from our end, just never really made that solid attempt to try to, you know, avoid a hearing. And even up until, you know, the days before, there were some phone calls back and forth, and basically it just came out that we were going to end up going to hearing. I mean, that was kind of how it ended. I think we saw from the deadline day that we were going to end up at a hearing, just with the lack of the attempts to get a deal done. So that's unfortunate that it ended up that way. And then the hearing itself is obviously another story. Very eye-opening. You learn your true value in the organization, and just kind of at the end of the day, it's disappointing, but you know, you got to get past it, and obviously the focus is playing baseball and going out and do what I can for the teammates and for the fans. You kind of find out your true value. You think you work hard for 7 years in the organization and 5 years with the big league team, and you get in there and basically they value you much different than what you thought you contributed to the organization. And it's just, you know, it's obviously it's tough to hear, it's tough to take, but you know, they're trying to do what they can to win a hearing. But I think there was obviously other ways that they could have gone about it, and probably been a little more respectful with the way they went about it. But you know, at the end of the day, here we are. You know, they obviously they won it, but when it came down to winning or losing the hearing, it was more than that for me. There's no denying that the relationship was definitely hurt from you know, what perspired over the last couple of weeks. Yeah, there's really no way getting around that. Obviously, we're professionals, and we're going to go out there and do our job, and I'm going to keep giving what I can every fifth day that I go out there. But you know, when some of the things that are said that you know, for instance, basically put me in the forefront of the reason why we didn't make the postseason last year. I mean, that's something that probably doesn't need to be said. You know, we can go about a hearing without having to do that. So that's kind of one of those things that, you know, obviously, you know, there was no attacking of character, of, you know, person of who I was, but just the some of the stuff that was said that, you know, definitely didn't need to be said is something that, you know, I think kind of disappointed everyone. Day or two before the hearing, they came at us with a 2-year deal that was pretty poor. You know, from the way we viewed it, it was better off to really take the number that the club had filed at than take a 2-year deal that they had offered. You know, and frankly, it almost kind of made the situation worse with kind of what was presented. But it was just kind of one of those things. You know, from the deadline day, we knew that we were going to end up at a hearing. Just the lack of them trying to get a deal done, I think, is kind of what got us to that point. You know, leading up to the deadline, we were much closer than what was filed at. The number, you know, was a lot smaller than the 740,000. You know, they did some things that my agency said they've never seen before, as far as leading up to the deadline And as you negotiate and you're getting closer and closer, and then I think it's about midnight Eastern time on that deadline day, they basically lowered their offer from what they were, and so it made the number even bigger that was filed and separated. So at some points we were much closer to getting a deal done, but there was just really no willingness to come up on their part. Through this process, the relationship, like I said, it's definitely different than what it was. It's definitely a little bit worse than it was. But I've always had expressed the willingness that I've loved the organization. I've wanted to be here for as long as I could, and have expressed to being open to have those conversations. But those have yet to surface.
So you see what I'm saying? Like, isn't this? Now, we haven't heard from the Brewers, but this is just, it makes the Brewers look so bad. First of all, he's the best player on your team. There's no question about that. But now, right before he's got to go to spring training, he's got to go to court first and do a court battle over $750,000. Okay, so there's problem number one. Problem number two is the Brewers then try to slide in a 2-year deal for Corbin Burnes that, from what he said, was disrespectful. I'm guessing they probably offered him like $9 million for the next 2 years, or for sure less than what he was going to be offered at this hearing anyways. So I would say like 2 years, $18 million. So they knew that wasn't going to work, but it's just a way for them to tell the fan base that they tried, and they're not going to say a number, but they tried, and he just doesn't want to be a part of the team. But then if you didn't hear, or if you weren't paying attention to what he said there at the end, I didn't even notice it the first time I watched, but this is nuts. Every team has to have what they want to pay submitted before a deadline. So that way when they go to court, the courts know what the team's amount they're going to pay is and what Corbin wants to make. So both sides have to have this ready for court. There's a deadline for that. And so what the Brewers did, from what it sounds like, is the Brewers, when the clock was going to strike midnight, right before it did, they lowered their offer for 2 reasons. Because they would do that, one, to make Corbin look way more greedy on the next day at court, because now it's going to make that gap look a lot bigger. It's not going to be $700,000 like this. It's going to be $1 million, $1.5 million gap. And now it makes Corbin look like he's asking way too much. You see what I'm saying? The Brewers are trying to make Corbin look like the bad guy, even worse than they're already trying to do that by making the gap much larger. That's pathetic. It's a multi-million-dollar ownership. Doesn't matter. It looks bad. But then you've got the second reasoning behind that. And the second reasoning behind that is by them lowering that amount right before midnight that night, now if they win the case, now they're even saving more money. They're saving $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 more. So now they're winning because they're actually paying him even less. So they're sticking Corbin Burnes with that. And then on top of that, they're making him look greedy in the hearing, because now the court's, like I said, going to say, oh, wow, like, yeah, he wants $1 million more. Like, yeah, let's side with the team. And so this really just makes the Brewers look really bad. I think you guys are probably going to agree. So as a Dodgers fan, I love hearing this. I hope he gets traded to us. I hope we sign him after next year, whatever it takes. But Corbin, if you're watching this, why don't you just come over to LA? Come over to the West Coast. We'll treat you nice. We'll pay you what you need to be paid. If you don't want to go to us, there are probably 5-6 teams out there that are willing to give you whatever contract you want. And there's probably like 15 more that they would give you something better than the Brewers. So maybe go sign with the Cardinals and just kick the shit out of the Brewers all the time. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. But either way, Corbin Burnes is going to be set for life. He's going to continue to be good. I think he's going to have a great 2023. He'll probably get traded this year. If not, we'll see what happens in the future. But if you guys like this kind of content, if you love MLB, if you love baseball, and you like hearing about all the new stories that are out, I promise you, as soon as I find out about them, I will make a video. We do a video every Monday. So come back to Mr. Bench Farmer and, we'll see what happens. We're currently at 30 subscribers, so we're on the way up. But thanks for watching, guys. Peace.